What's good YouTube? Target here and welcome to another episode of Design and Manage, my city Skylines and Modded Let's Play series. On the previous episodes we have completed the zoning of the main part of the city, the continent, that you see right on your screen, but there are some details that we have missed. One of them is working on the coastline. As you can see, we have quite a blank space on the southern side of the city, which is something that we are going to address on this episode. So let me just explain to you in a bit more detail what I have in mind for this area of town. What I'm gonna do is start by terraforming the coastline a little bit. I want to make this much more organic looking with a much more interesting shape. Then I'm gonna add some pathways, some roads, some local roads, and I'll also zone a bit of commercial, similar to what I've done in this area over here on the other side, which turned out quite good. So I think we can replicate this effect and add it to this coastline. I will also need to add a few stops for ferries, so that's something that I have to keep in mind. And yeah, I believe we can start working. The only thing I'm not sure is if I'm going to be able to work on this triangular shape of a city or not. A lot of people have been asking me to put a zoo in this location, but now that I've been thinking about it, I don't think that's going to be a good idea, and there's a very simple reason for that. All of the animals that came with the zoo are pretty much African animals, based in Africa, such as elephants, giraffes and lions and those sorts of things. And as you can see, we are playing on a snow themed map, and that might not be very adequate to place a zoo in such a kind of map, but we'll see about that, because other than a zoo I have no other ideas for things that we could put over here, so I still have to think about it. But for now, let's just focus on this area of town. So yeah, I'm gonna be working on that. I'm gonna start by terraforming this land, and I will probably make a road and a pathway layout so that we can place a few buildings. So guys, without further ado, I'm gonna turn it into a time lapse and I will meet you in a short couple of minutes. See you back then. Alright guys, I have completely modified the terrain, So let me just show you what I have done. Okay, so I've started off by making the terrain at the sea level, so I lowered the terrain quite a bit so that I could put this thing. Initially I had put a, let me see if I can find it. Initially I had put this ferry and bus exchange stop, but I figured out we wouldn't be needing so many bus stops in this location, so I've switched for this ferry pier, which I believe works much better in this location. I've then made a road layout. Well, it is pretty much enough space to place some commercial buildings, some full-sized commercial buildings, which I believe will turn out quite nice. And yeah, I have several connections to the rest of the city. 3 connections, by the way, by road. Actually 4 if you count this one. So if I go to the ground level or to the underground level, we can see that one of those entrances to this coastline area is in this part of town. People can go through either these 2 tunnels and then go and get on the other side. Then they can also come through this location as well, and finally through this location as well. So I believe there's enough access points to this area. Finally, I've also made this pedestrian pathway that connects these 2 areas together by foot. So I have had to modify this area quite a bit. I had to delete a building that was over here, but people can now go over the highway and also the avenue and come back over here and get to the layout. And I've also made this interesting pathway network, which I believe will look very good when I put some buildings and trees surrounding them. And finally, there's a final connection that will connect the coastal area to this location as well. So this area has a lot of access points. Oh, and as you can see, the water level still hasn't stabilized from all that terraforming, so I believe we need to wait quite a bit more until all of this is stabilized, but hopefully that will be no issue. I think we can even start now by placing some zones, some commercial buildings. First and foremost, I need to draw a district because this is going to be a leisure specialized district, just like the one we have in this location. So let's just work on that. Alright, cool. And now let's apply the leisure specialized district. Perfect. Now let's cover everything with some pipes. And finally, I believe we can now start zoning some stuff. I didn't want to zone until the water level was stabilized, so maybe we can wait a few minutes. Okay, let's try it now. Hopefully we'll not have this happening again. Now I need to select which squares I'm going to zone first, because we need power to transfer, so I believe I'm going to start with these small tiles first, and then I'll expand to the other sides of the layout. Here I believe it will be enough for the power to spread, so let's start with some few commercial blocks right about here. Now let's zone some more over here and over here as well. Okay, and perhaps we can make or put some plazas. Let's put a couple of them right in front of the ferry stops. Now let's zone everything with some commercial. Alright, this area has developed quite nicely. Now let's just put some pathways right around the parks, because I believe that will make this area look much better. great. And perhaps we can finish up the zoning of this, but I've been thinking, because this is a coastline area, the land value is much higher than usual. Yeah, there we go, you can see these green zones next to the water. So I believe it would be very interesting if we had turned this area into a high-tech housing district as well. So let me just go to the policies for this district, and I am gonna name it, not name it, but I'm gonna give it the high-tech housing policy. Perfect. And now I can mix some residential zones, and I believe residential will look the best in this location. So let me zone all of this, and we still have some water issues going on, but hopefully that will be okay. Now let's just zone some more houses like this. Okay, I do not want to mess with the terraform terrain. That gave me quite a bit of work to do, so let's just try not to cover any of these cliffs with zoning, and perhaps we can zone all the way here. Okay, and the rest can be commercial in this area, but I'm also going to put some residential in these locations as well. Okay, now we just have to let it grow and see what happens exactly. But now I just need to zone some more commercial to make the power transfer, and maybe we can zone all of this with commercial. Perhaps it will be a good idea to have a firehouse as well. Maybe we can put it in this location, and we just need to dezone this little block of residential. And I think we are pretty much covered with police. Or maybe not. I see some buildings that are not perfectly bright blue, so let me just add a police station over here as well, so that this area goes to the maximum. And we're still having a bit of problem with water. Hopefully this will not be permanent and will be stabilized by the end of the video. For this little square I might want to place something different. Maybe I can put a unique building. So I don't know, let's just check it out what I have over here. I've seen this television station that might be a good bet, so let's just place it. Or maybe let's just see what other options we have. We have the Bird and Bee Haven, which is too large for this location. And you know what, let's just try this out and put a radio station by the riverside. You know what? This building is not very large, but it's also not very small, and I believe it's a good fit for this location, so I think we'll keep it. And finally we just have to do one final thing, which is activate this ferry pier. Okay. And finally there's just one small thing that we are missing, which is adding a bus line that connects this entire area. And I believe I want a bus line that will bring people to this metro station and give access to the entire city layout. So let's start with the stop here. Now let's bring it all the way over here, right next to the coastline. Another one here, another one at the ferry. And now we can start heading back. And let's just connect it back. And perhaps we can even make a stop next to this metro station. Yeah, let's make a stop over here as well. And now everything should be fine. And look at the line of vehicles waiting to get into this layout, because there is a silly vacuum truck that is stuck over here doing absolutely nothing. Now, I wonder how long it will take until it gets out of the way. It's definitely not working because there's no water nearby. Oh, but it's filling up, so yeah, perhaps that's the issue, is doing his work. Okay, so it's justifiable. So the only thing that we're missing here is decoration. I need to decorate this entire thing with trees. which is something that I cannot do while the entire area is flooded. So while we'll let the water level adjust, perhaps there's something else we can do. And I believe I'm going to do something that a lot of you have been nagging me for the past year, which is add some more fire helicopter depots. That's right. Right now this entire city only has one of these, which is the one that we have in this location, and perhaps this is a good time for us to add a bit more of them. Now this is not going to help to prevent forest fires, unlike what most of you seem to think, but it might help to put them out quickly, or at least a bit faster than what we have right now. So I already figured out the first location of the second one, and that is going to be right here. So I need to delete this segment of road, and hopefully this thing will fit here, and of course it doesn't fit. So let's change the plan. Let's continue the road up until the coastline, and now let's put it here. There we go, much better. And this will be very effective in dealing with fires, because this has to be placed near the coastline area. I just don't like this little dip that it does with the terrain, so perhaps we need to find a better location for this. You know what, I have an idea. Let's just delete it, delete everything, grab our terraform tool. Let's just make a small ledge. Now let's try this again. And there we go, much better. Okay, so now we have two fire helicopter depots, one here and another one here. Perhaps we can have a third one right next to this forestry industry on the other corner of the city. So I don't know, perhaps I can put it right now. This seems like a good place for it. So now let's just adjust the road layout. Let's delete these little segments of road. Let's expand the cliff to this location. Now let's do everything. I believe this is going to be enough to place this thing at a very good level. Yeah, there we go. Now let's just wrap everything around it. Okay, I believe this is good enough. Another thing that we can do while we're at it, while we're working in this location, is to replace this ferry stop with a ferry pier, just like what we have over here, because we have two lines, or we have two ferry lines come here, and it's very awkward when two ferries of different lines are in this stop at the same time, because they pretty much overlap with each other. Let's see if we can replicate the effect. Yeah, there you go. This is what I'm talking about. So yeah, let's just take care of that. Alright guys, we have completely modified this area, and I believe it's working much better right now. And it even matches with this one that we have on the other side, so I'm quite satisfied with that. And let's move on to this area, and as you can see, we're still having a bit of water issues. I might have to raise the terrain of this area a bit, even though I do not want to rework and redo the entire thing that I've done here. But I don't know, we'll see if this adjusts and stabilizes. For now, I believe we can start planting some trees. I'm going to start with this area right on top of the highway, and then I'm gonna move on to this area right next to the river. So yeah, let's start with that. Alright guys, I've just reworked the entire area. Oh, hold on, not this area. Alright guys, I've just reworked this entire area and I have decorated everything with trees and also some rocks, such as this effect over here. I believe they look quite alright. We have some people using the pathways already. Here you can see some of them using them, which is pretty amazing. I have also raised the land of this area quite a bit. And I believe this area was a problematic one because if you look at the water current, you can see this is the place that the water hits when it's making the curve. And I believe that was pretty much the issue. Water was coming up over here, it was overflowing this area, and then water was flowing through this entire coastal area. But since I've raised it, the problem seems to have gone away. But we'll just have to see how this develops. This area might still be overflowed, the area that I didn't touch. So that's something that we may wanna keep an eye on. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. I have managed to build everything that I wanted to build in this episode, and for that I am quite satisfied. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already to get notified every time I post a new City Skylines video. Thank you so much for watching guys, and as always, have fun.